We're about to insulate the whole floor and the space below is going to be really cold, so we're going to insulate the pipes first. We found a really good way of cutting the insulation pipe by using a mitre and a bread knife. So you just slot it in and then you can angle it down. Like so. That way, when they fit together, they should hopefully fit on the corners like that. We've gone round and taped up all the joins so there'll be no heat loss and no movement.
Before we put the netting down to hold the insulation, we just need to mark off the depth of the insulation on the joists. So just running a rough line along each joist, just so that when we staple the netting, we'll staple it at the line, it'll come across and create little baskets in between each joist. So here goes through to the cellar, which is well ventilated. So we want to keep those free from any insulation. One way to do that is plywood. Just get a bit of ply and put it on some battens on an angle, which will just almost ramp the insulation away from the hole. We decided to use some of the damp-proof membrane, and we're just going to staple that on an angle. From the top of the joist on a slight angle, just to almost create a vent. And that will keep any insulation from blocking up the hole. So we've got all the netting down and we've trimmed the width of all the sheep's wool so it'll tuck in nicely. We're now putting it in between the joists. Here's where we've filled with the insulation already. We've cut it so it's exactly the right width so it doesn't buckle up at all. And here's where the netting just loops over each joist and then holds it up at exactly the right height. So we just about managed to get all the sheep's wool down and tried to get it as even as possible. Nice flat top so it's level with the joists. There's a little bit where we just need to go around and pull it up in places or add a little bit extra to fill any gaps. So the next stage is to put the damp-proof membrane down. This will be stapled every other joist and leave about 10 inches up the sides of the room so that it can be taped to the walls behind the skirting. So once you get to this point, it's pretty much the point of no return. So you need to make sure all your cables are up in the right place, all your pipes are up and insulated, and make sure there are no tools left underneath, because once this membrane goes down and the boards are down, you really don't want to get under there because it'd be a lot of hassle. So the membrane's all down and now we're putting the boards down. We're just dry fitting them just to make sure everything lines up, cutting any holes for pipes. And we've tried where possible to put them back down where we took them up. So it's time to get the boards all secured back down. Once we've managed to dry fit them all and make sure they're all fitting how we want them, it's time to nail them down to the joists. So using a chalk line, we've just snapped a faint line across, which we'll nail so we know where the joists are. And we've decided to use the same nails that were originally used, the same style, which is a cut clasp nail. And these seem to go in really well, and they're nice and strong and they're not bending at all, so that's good. The vapour membrane has come up the sides. We're going to tape that to the walls and cover it with the skirting. So once we've got all the tools out of this room, we'll give it a really good sweep down and clean, and then we'll get the sander in and put the sander over to leave us with a good surface for our finishing oil wax. And we will also be using some of the pine slivers which have been cut from other reclaimed floorboards, just to fill any of these gaps. They're simply glued and tapped in and then chiseled flush to the floor. So again, we'll look at that in the next video.